Hello and welcome, my name is Maker and this is my challenge guide for Path of Exile Necropolis League. The strategies described will be limited to things reasonably achievable without or with very limited trading. Keep in mind that most of the challenges can be made significantly easier by engaging in player trading and or challenge sharing. If you need help with harder boss fights, check out more in-depth guides for each specific fight. Each challenge will have difficulty rating assigned based on which stage of Path of Exile endgame is required to complete them. The ratings are as follows. Campaign. These challenges can reasonably be completed before entering your first map. Early maps. These challenges can be completed in white maps and usually only require access to Atlas exclusive mechanics. Yellow maps. These challenges require to be completed in at least yellow tier maps. Red maps. These challenges require to be completed in at least tier 11 or higher maps. Pinnacle. These challenges will require ability to clear Pinnacle boss fights. Tier 17/Uber. These challenges will require ability to clear new Tier 17 purple maps and or Uber Pinnacle boss fights. If you're interested in learning more, check out Necropolis Challenge Analysis /Newbie Guide by Vironlawck on Path of Exile Reddit. He makes excellent challenge guides every league that are being updated with any known bugs, bug fixes, and tips that are relevant to each challenge. Link in the description below. Challenge number 1. Beginner's Basics. Complete each of the following tasks. Allocate a passive mastery. Complete a labyrinth trial. Defeat an act boss. Use the crafting bench. Difficulty tier of this challenge is Campaign. Allocate a passive mastery. On your skill tree, find a node with a mastery present. Simply have any notable allocated on it, and you will be able to select one of the passive mastery bonuses to allocate. It will cost you 1 passive skill point. Complete a labyrinth trial. The earliest labyrinth trial is located in the lower prison of Act 1. You can find it quite easily by looking for a small open book minimap icon for the lore object at the trial entrance. Trial itself is a small trap gauntlet with your main objective being touching the trial plaque at the end of it. Defeat an act boss. You will complete this one by killing Merveil the Twisted at the end of Caverns of Anger Zone in Act 1 while progressing through the campaign. Use the crafting bench. If you're a new player, then to unlock crafting bench you have to gain access to your hideout first. In Act 2, after freeing Helena at the Chamber of Sins level 2, she will provide you with a quest to unlock your first hideout. After unlocking your hideout, all you have to do is go there. Find the crafting bench and put any item with not fully filled explicit modifiers inside. You can pick any crafting option that you can currently afford. Challenge number 2. Necrotic Necessity. Complete each of the following Necropolis encounters. Defeat a monster with a Necropolis modifier. Collect a corpse. Craft an item in the Necropolis. Difficulty tier of this challenge is Campaign. All of these tasks are connected to one another and introduce you to the main mechanic of the Necropolis League. This mechanic causes specific monster packs to be haunted or devoted. When entering any zone, you will have option to preview and modify which packs are affected by what modifier. Any monster pack with negative modifier is considered haunted, and any monster pack with beneficial modifier is considered devoted. Monsters affected by these effects have a chance to have special Unresolved Anguish modifier applied to them, and guarantee to leave a corpse behind that can be picked up, stored in Necropolis Morgue, and later used in a process called grave crafting at the Necropolis location. You can access the Necropolis by talking with Undertaker Arimor, or at any waypoint. To craft an item, simply select an empty grave and place your desired corpse in it. Click Craft, select Base Item, and challenge is complete. Corpses buried in adjacent graves will have their effects stacked together. Challenge number 3 is Peddler's Produce. Complete vendor recipes to receive each of the following items. A vendor recipe is when you trade a specific combination of items to the vendor, not when you buy items from their purchase screen. Chromatic Orb, Jeweler's Orb, any hybrid flask, Instilling or Enkindling Orb. Difficulty tier of this challenge is Campaign. Chromatic Orb. Sell an item with red, green, and blue sockets that are linked together. You will receive 1 chromatic orb. Jeweler's Orb. Sell an item with 6 sockets. Only 200 weapons and body armor above item level 50 can randomly drop with this many sockets naturally. If all 6 sockets are linked together, the vendor recipe will be replaced and will no longer grant Jeweler's Orb. Any hybrid flask. Sell 1 life and 1 mana flask of the same size along with 1 orb of fusing. This works for any size of life and mana flasks. Instilling or Enkindling Orb. You can sell 4 Instilling Orbs along with 1 Orb of Scouring and trigger tagged Skill Gem to gain 1 Enkindling Orb. Other option is to sell 2 Enkindling Orbs along with 1 Orb of Alchemy with trigger tagged Skill Gem to gain 1 Instilling Orb. Challenge number 4 is Act Adversaries 1. Complete each of the following encounters. Act 1, Merveil the Twisted. Act 2, Val Oversoul. Act 3, Dominus Ascendant. Act 4, Malachi the Nightmare. Act 5, Kitava the Insatiable. Difficulty tier of this challenge is Campaign. Simply progress through the acts, and this will be complete after losing to Kitava in Act 5. Challenge number 5 is Deadly Deeds. Complete each of the following encounters. Open a breach, defeat a rare beyond monster, defeat a possessed monster, complete an expedition. Difficulty tier of this challenge is Early Maps. Open a breach. This task requires you to participate in a breach encounter. These can be forced to appear in maps with Breach Scarabs, Mapcraft, Implicit Map Modifier, or Atlas Passive Tree. They're easily identifiable with red hand minimap icon. Simply walk into the hand-like structure and it will activate the encounter. Defeat a rare Beyond monster. Beyond encounters don't spawn on their own in maps, but can be forced with Beyond Scarabs, Mapcraft, or Atlas Passive Tree. If encounter is present, slaying monsters close together will cause special Beyond monsters to spawn. These monsters can drop tainted currency. There are special Beyond nodes present in Azurite Mine. It will directly spawn a lot of Beyond monsters. As part of Necropolis League, there are special All-Flame Embers that can be used to replace some monster packs with Beyond monsters. These also count for this challenge. Defeat a possessed monster. This one requires you to kill a rare or unique monster that is currently possessed by a tormented spirit. There are some ways to force encounters with already possessed monsters that include Atlas Notables, Seance, and Exiled Will, or Alva Temple with Tier 2 Torture Cages or Tier 3 Sadist's Den that belongs to Tsamoto, Architect of Torments. The easiest and very early way to complete this challenge is visiting Ship's Graveyard in Act 1 and opening a special chest called the Pirate's Treasure. It will spawn a unique enemy along with 2 tormented spirits that will attempt to possess him. This is one-time encounter, but if you missed it during the campaign, you can complete it later as there aren't any level restrictions for it to spawn. Complete an expedition. Another task that can be completed during the campaign. As early as Act 6, expedition encounters will start to appear every so often. In maps, they can be forced with Expedition Scarabs, Mapcraft, Implicit Map Modifier, or Atlas Passive Tree. Easily identifiable by cluster of blue minimap icons representing remnants. Simply place explosives and detonate them once you're ready. Kill monsters that spawn, and you're done. Challenge number 6 is Significant Spirits. Complete each of the following Necropolis encounters. Defeat monsters with Necropolis modifiers 250 times. Collect corpses 50 times. Difficulty tier of this challenge is Campaign/Early Maps. Defeat monsters with Necropolis modifiers. This one should be finished during the campaign by simply killing enemies. Collect corpses. This one requires you to pick up corpses that drop from enemies affected by Unresolved Anguish modifier. Challenge number 7 is Act Adversaries 2. Complete each of the following encounters. Act 6. Tsoagoth the Brine King. Act 7. Arakali, Spinner of Shadows. Act 8. Lunaris Eternal Moon and Solaris Eternal Sun. Act 9. The Depraved Trinity. Act 10. Kitava the Insatiable. Difficulty tier of this challenge is Campaign. This challenge is a continuation of Act Adversaries 1. Simply continue progressing through the acts, and this will be completed after beating Kitava in Act 10. Challenge number 8 is Regrettable Requests. Complete each of the following quests. Through the Sacred Ground, Fallen from Grace, Fastis Fortuna, No Love for Old Ghosts. Difficulty tier of this challenge is Campaign. All of these quests will reward you with 1 Book of Regret, which will provide you with 2 passive respec points. Through the Sacred Ground. This is Act 2 side quest, issued by Yina after freeing Helena from Chamber of Sins level 2. You need to acquire Golden Hand quest item from Crypts level 2. Simply find the interactable altar, guarded by unique enemy Archbishop Geoffrey the Abashed, and return to Yina to finish this quest. Fallen from Grace. This is Act 6 side quest issued by Lily as soon as you arrive in Act 6. Go to Twilight Strand through the left side exit. Once there, you need to kill every single enemy in the zone. Once done, return to Lily. You will be granted access to her vendor inventory and ability to have her present in your hideout. Fastis Fortuna. This is Act 9 side quest issued by Petarus and Vanya, As soon as you arrive in Highgate, you need to acquire Calendar of Fortune quest item from Foothills. You will need to find unique enemy Boulderback, which will drop the required item. Once you have it, return to Petarus and Vanya. No Love for Old Ghosts. This is Act 10 side quest, issued by Waylam at start of Act 10. You need to acquire Elixir of Allure quest item from the Ossuary. It's located inside the sealed chest. Once you have it, return to Waylam. Challenge number 9 is Enigmatic Essences. Complete each of the following essence encounters. Defeat monsters with essences 60 times. Use Remnants of Corruption 30 times. Defeat a monster with at least 3 defending essences. Defeat a map boss with at least 6 essences in a red or purple tier map. Difficulty tier of this challenge is red maps. Defeat monsters with essences. Essences can appear since Act 1 onwards and are easily identifiable by blue crystal minimap icon. Essence monsters can be forced to appear in maps with Essence Scarabs, Mapcraft, Implicit Map Modifier, or Atlas Notable, Prolific Essence. Use Remnants of Corruption. Remnants of Corruption can spawn randomly in place of any other essence. They can be used on uncorrupted essence monsters to cause one of 4 effects at random. Add 1 additional essence. Increase each essence level by 1. Change each essence type to 1 in the next tier. Empower the monsters and release them immediately. I recommend allocating 2 small Atlas passives from Crystal Resonance node, granting total of 20% chance for any essence to contain a Remnant of Corruption. Defeat a monster with at least 3 different defending essences. Defending essences don't occur naturally and have to be created via use of Remnants of Corruption on monsters with 3 Shrieking essences and rolling 25% chance to upgrade them. I recommend allocating Atlas Notables Crystal Lattice and Amplified Energies, and then corrupting any essence monster with 3 Shrieking essences. Simplest method to almost guarantee completion of this task is to use Scarab of Ascent together with Scarab of Stability and at least 1 Essence Scarab. This method will also count for Challenge 29, Sanctified Scarabs 2. If you can get it, Einhar's Memory of Crystal Prisons is a viable alternative. Both of these methods cause higher tier essences to appear, as well as improving odds of Remnants of Corruption outcome to upgrade essences by 1 tier. Defeat a map boss with at least 6 essences in red or purple tier map. This one is impossible to complete without Atlas passive tree being set up towards it. You will need to allocate Crystal Resonance Atlas Notable and defeat at least 6 essence monsters in a single map before facing its boss. You can guarantee at least 8 essences to spawn by using 3 Essence Scarabs along with Essence Mapcraft. This can be done on any red or purple map, but for weaker builds I recommend acquiring red tier Volcano map for this strategy. The map boss of Volcano map is a totem and will not gain many benefits from essences. This makes the challenge a lot easier to complete. Challenge number 10 is Abyssal Assailants. Complete each of the following Abyss encounters. Complete Abysses 30 times. Defeat rare Abyssal monsters 100 times. Complete Abysses with 4 pits 10 times. Defeat Stygian Spires 5 times. Difficulty tier of this challenge is early maps. Complete Abysses. Abysses can appear since Act 6 onwards and are easily identifiable by green orb minimap icon. Abysses can be forced to appear in maps with Abyss Scarabs, Mapcraft, Implicit Map Modifier, and Atlas Passive Tree. Defeat rare Abyssal monsters. Each Abyss will spawn many monsters that usually include a few rare enemies per Abyss. You will complete this task while doing other tasks required for this challenge. This task can be done without any special setup. Abysses can have between 1 and 4 pits naturally. But we can force it with Atlas Notable Trail of Distraction, using Abyss Scarab of Edifice, which forces Stygian Spires in abysses that don't lead to abyssal depth. Should also cause them to have 4 pits. Defeat Stygian Spires. Abyss encounter with 4 pits can spawn Stygian Spire at the end of it, using Abyss Scarab of Edifice, which forces Stygian Spires in abysses that don't lead to abyssal depth, together with few Abyss Scarabs and or Mapcraft, should make this challenge easily done in a single map. Without that Scarab, the easiest way to increase odds of Stygian Spires spawning is to stack Atlas Notable Trail of Distraction along with 2 small Stygian Spire chance Atlas passives and 2 small Abyssal Depths chance and Stygian Spire chance Atlas passives. Challenge number 11 is Divine Domination. Complete each of the following Domination encounters. Activate Shrines 100 times. Defeat map bosses while under the effect of a shrine 50 times. Activate an Echoing or Divine Shrine. Have 5 different shrine effects on you at once. Difficulty tier for this challenge is early maps. Activate Shrines. Shrines can appear in most zones since Act 1 and are easily identifiable by gold Discry minimap icon. They can be forced to appear in maps with Domination Scarabs, Mapcraft, Implicit Map Modifier, and Atlas Notable Supplication. Defeat mob bosses while under the effect of a shrine. This one requires some effort on slower builds. I recommend taking all small Domination, Shrine Duration Atlas passives along with Atlas Notable Supplication, and possibly leaving Shrine to be used before entering the boss arena. Blunderbore unique body armor passive effect and the Ghoul unique helmet lesser shrines will count towards this task. Necropolis League modifier, Pax spawn a lesser shrine on death, is similar to the Ghoul's unique helmet effect and will count towards this challenge as well. If you have Domination Scarab of Terrors, you can use it to gain a lot of progress. The additional mob bosses guarding each shrine will count as long as you are under effect of a shrine. Necropolis League Devoted modifier accompanied by a map boss will help in similar fashion, but will require shrines to be present in the map or usage of previously mentioned unique items. Activate an Echoing or Divine Shrine. This one requires some luck as both of these shrine types have very low odds of spawning. Using Domination Scarab of Abnormality doesn't seem to work for this as they aren't unusual. Simply use Atlas Notable Supplication and small Domination Shrine Chance Atlas passives. Have 5 different shrine effects on you at once. This will be hard to do without special setup, using Atlas Notables, Syncretism and Supplication, as well as all small Domination Shrine Duration Atlas passives and few Domination Scarabs on a map with simple layout like Shore should make this step a breeze. Challenge number 12 is Devout Disciples. Defeat rare monsters with any 7 of the following types of devoted modifiers. Devoted to Aberath, Devoted to Grutkul, Devoted to Lunaris, Devoted to Prospero, Devoted to Rizlata, Devoted to Solaris, Devoted to Tangmazu, Devoted to Fruldana, Devoted to Tsoagotch, Devoted to Viridi. Difficulty tier of this challenge is early maps. This one will most likely be done passively during the campaign or early maps. Devoted modifiers are beneficial effects applied to a monster pack as part of the Necropolis League main mechanic. You only need to kill 7 out of 10 possible devoted rares. Most common devoted modifiers include Aberath, Lunaris, Prospero, Rizlata, Solaris, and Tangmazu. You might have to search a bit for Fruldana, Tsoagotch or Viridi devoted rares, but they're not unreasonably uncommon. Groovekul is rarest, but is not required to complete this challenge. Challenge number 13 is Tactful Thievery. Complete each of the following heist encounters. Open Smuggler's Caches 60 times. Level a heist job to level 5. Complete item level 78 or higher priceless or precious target value contracts 15 times. Complete item level 78 or higher blueprints with 4 wings 5 times. Difficulty tier of this challenge is red maps. Open Smuggler's Caches. Smuggler caches can appear from Act 6 onwards and are easily identifiable with map icon depicting one. They can be forced to appear in maps with Mapcraft, Implicit Map Modifier, and Atlas Passive Tree. Level a heist job to level 5. Simply complete heist contracts or blueprints of specific job type with rogue that can achieve level 5 in that job. Higher level contracts provide more experience. Agility to Lina, Brute Force Tibbs, Counter Thaumaturgy Niles, Deception Gianna, Demolition Vindieri, Engineering Ayla, Lockpicking Karst, Perception Nanette, Trap Disarmament Vindieri. The only rogue without any level 5 job is Hack, which can achieve at most level 3 in 4 different jobs. Complete item level 78 or higher priceless or precious target value contracts. Open Smuggler Caches in tier 11 plus maps. This can be done without any special setup, but I recommend using Atlas Notable Friends in High Places to increase chance of contracts with precious targets. You can also recycle old contracts that are level 78 plus by trading 5 magic or 5 rare contracts targeting the same location to receive 1 random contract that will possibly have priceless or precious target. The resulting contract will have the level equal to the lowest level of contracts used for the trade. Complete item level 78 or higher blueprints with 4 wings. Open Smuggler's Caches in tier 11 maps. This can be done without any special setup, but I recommend using notables Casing the Joint and No Honor Among Thieves. This strategy will synergize well with the previous task requiring high value targets. You have to complete all 4 wings successfully for blueprint to count towards this task. If you're willing to sacrifice them, blueprints that drop with less than 4 wings can be recycled in the same way as contracts. Trading in 5 magic or 5 rare blueprints of the same base type will result in new randomly rolled blueprint, which might have 4 wings available. The resulting blueprint will have level equal to the lowest level of blueprints used for the trade. Challenge number 14 is Heralding Harbingers. Complete each of the following Harbinger encounters. Defeat Harbingers 60 times. Use a Harbinger's Orb. Assemble a Harbinger unique. Complete red tier beachhead maps 3 times. Difficulty tier of this challenge is red maps. Defeat Harbingers. Harbingers don't spawn on their own in maps, but can be forced with Harbinger Scarabs, Mapcraft, Implicit Map Modifier, or Atlas Notable, Ominous Arrival. Unique maps called beachheads will spawn plenty of Harbingers and are required for other parts of this challenge. There are also special Harbinger nodes present in Azurite Mine that will spawn them, as well as Kirak's Memory of Farrell, which will also spawn plenty of them. Use a Harbinger's Orb. Slaying Harbingers, Divination card The Journey, and any other source of Harbinger rewards like Legion, Expedition, completing 68 plus Agility or Deception contracts, and placing Immortal Syndicate member Cameria in Fortification Safe House should provide you with a source of Harbinger Orbs as well as their corresponding shards. You will most likely need to use a lot of them for the next 2 tasks, so don't waste them without purpose. Main effect of a Harbinger Orb is to reforge a map to be another one of a higher tier. There is about 20% chance for it to cause a different effect. Using it on tier 1 to 5 can turn that map into white tier beachhead map. If used on tier 6 to 10, it can result in yellow tier beachhead map. If used on tier 11 to 15, it might turn into red beachhead map. My recommendation is to use them on red tier 11 to 15 maps, since we'll need at least 3 red tier beachhead maps for later tasks in this challenge. Assemble a Harbinger unique. I recommend finishing next task first before targeting this one. Every completed white, yellow, or red tier beachhead map will guarantee 1 random Harbinger unique piece. There are a total of 18 possible pieces that can drop. Infused beachheads don't drop Harbinger unique pieces, so they will be useless for this task. Beachheads are also one of possible outcomes of using comprehensive scouting reports to reroll Kirak missions. There is also Divination card set, The Messenger, that can drop in Crystal Ore and port maps that will result in random piece. Possible unique fragment sets that are added to the drop pool from each beachhead are as follows. White tier beachhead maps, 5 possible drops. First and second pieces of time, first, second and third pieces of the Arcane. Yellow tier beachhead maps, 11 possible drops. All previous pieces as well as first, second and third pieces of Brutality, first, second and third pieces of Directions. Red tier beachhead maps, 18 possible drops. All previous pieces as well as first, second and third pieces of Storms, first, second, third and fourth pieces of Focus. This task relies heavily on dropping the right pieces and can take a lot of beachhead maps depending on your luck. In Trade League, this task is trivial. Complete red tier beachhead maps. Use Harbinger's Orb on tier 11 to 15 red maps. Chances of upgrading to red tier beachhead are around 15 to 20%. There is also Divination card set, The Landing, that will provide 1 red tier beachhead for a full set. It can drop in shore and strand maps as well as their unique variants, Maokun and Wakawairua Tuahu. Complete this before targeting assembling a Harbinger unique task in case you get lucky with dropped pieces. Challenge number 15 is Rapturous Rituals. Complete each of the following ritual encounters. Complete rituals 100 times. Purchase a ritual base with tribute. Spend tribute 100,000. Complete a single ritual encounter with at least 6 unique map bosses. Difficulty tier of this challenge is early maps. Complete rituals. Ritual altars can appear from Act 2 onwards. They are easily identifiable with a small yellow minimap icon that turns dark and bloodied once completed. Ritual altars can be forced to appear in maps with blood-filled vessels, Mapcraft, Implicit Map Modifier, or Atlas Passive Tree. You can guarantee to spawn 4 ritual altars when possible by using Atlas Notable Occult Devotion. Purchase a ritual base with tribute. This one is pretty self-explanatory. Once you complete any ritual, keep an eye out for special ritual base type helmets, gloves, or boots. They can be easily identified by implicit modifiers that provide clear upside as well as downside. Spend tribute. For this task you have to spend tribute on rewards or deferrals. Rerolls don't count. I recommend allocating Atlas Keystone, Immutable Dogma, Atlas Notable, Occult Devotion, along with 2 small Atlas passives, Ritual Tribute Quantity. This method will disable your ability to reroll favors, but will make this task twice as fast and guarantee 4 rituals in your maps when possible. You can use ritual vessels to make blood-filled vessels that will also increase tribute gained by adding more monsters into your future rituals. Complete a single ritual encounter with at least 6 unique map bosses. For this one you can open glacier maps and hope for one of the altars to spawn in the boss arena. For highest odds of that happening, I recommend also using Atlas Notable Occult Devotion. Otherwise, any map with 3+ bosses and twin modifier that will double the bosses will work. For example, Arena, Courthouse, Courtyard, Crystal Ore, Forbidden Woods, Iceberg, and Val Pyramid maps are all valid targets. Challenge number 16 is Hungering Harvests. Complete each of the following harvest encounters. Harvest plots 100 times. Defeat Tier 4 Harvest Monsters 3 times. Spend Life Force 25,000. Defeat Oshabi. Difficulty tier of this challenge is red maps. Harvest plots. Harvest encounters can appear in map areas and are easily identifiable by Sacred Grove minimap icon. Harvests can be forced to appear in maps with Harvest Scarabs, Mapcraft, Implicit Map Modifier, and Atlas Passive Tree. Each harvest will contain multiple seed areas where you choose one of 2 plots to harvest. I recommend using Atlas Notables, Bumper Crop, and Heart of the Grove for more plots and chance to cause the unchosen crop not to wilt. Defeat Tier 4 Harvest Monster. Tier 4 Harvest Monsters can rarely appear in any plot. They will have orange-brown colored name in the monster list for the patch. You can increase odds of them spawning with Atlas Notable Heart of the Grove. I recommend allocating small Atlas passives Harvest Monster Duplication chance for 6% chance to duplicate them. There is also option of running Atlas Keystone Crop Rotation and trying to use its mechanics to upgrade seeds into Tier 4, but it requires a lot of micromanagement in which plots you want to trigger first. If you can get it, Harvest Scarab of Cornucopia will guarantee between 1 to 3 Tier 4 Harvest Monsters to spawn based on which colors of seeds are present in spawned plots. Einhar's Memory of the Sacred Grove is also a great way to possibly generate multiple Tier 4 Harvest Monsters to spawn. Spend Life Force. After defeating Harvest Monsters, they will often drop different colored Life Force, which can be spent using Hori Crafting Station in your hideout. Check out what are the available options and use any that are useful to you. You can maximize Life Force drops by doing higher tier maps, increasing map quantity as well as pack size. Higher tier seeds will also drop higher quantities of Life Force. I recommend allocating Atlas Notables Heart of the Grove, Bumper Crop, Doubling Season, and Bountiful Harvest, as well as small Atlas passives Harvest Monster Duplication Chance and additional Life Force from Harvest. Defeat Oshabi. Defeating Tier 4 Harvest Monsters will sometimes award you with Sacred Blossom map fragment. You can use it in your personal map device to open Oshabi Avatar of the Grove boss fight at area level 83. Challenge number 17 is Eternal Exorcising. Craft any 10 types of the following equipment in the Necropolis while using at least 5 crafting modifiers and resulting in an item level 75 or higher item. Amulet, Axe, Belt, Body Armor, Boots, Bow, Claw, Dagger, Gloves, Helmet, Mace/Scepter, Quiver, Ring, Shield, Staff, Sword, Wand. Difficulty tier of this challenge is yellow maps. You only need to craft 10 out of 17 item types for this challenge. This will require at least 50 corpses of average level 75 or higher, which can be obtained reliably from tier 8 or higher maps. Using multiple corpses with the same crafting modifier will not count as separate for the same craft. Multiple categories of weapons fall under the same equipment type. Most notably, all 200 weapons share it with their 100 equivalent. Daggers and rune daggers, as well as war staffs and staffs, are in the same weapon types. Of course, scepters fall in with maces under Mace Scepter weapon type. Challenge number 18 is Achieve Ascension. Use Ascendancy device in each of the following labyrinths: the Labyrinth, the Cruel Labyrinth, the Merciless Labyrinth, the Eternal Labyrinth. Difficulty tier of this challenge is yellow maps. The Labyrinth. To unlock access to this one, you will need to complete 6 labyrinth trials located in following locations. Act 1, the Lower Prison. Act 2, the Crypt, level 1. Act 2, the Chamber of Sins, level 2. Act 3, the Crematorium. Act 3, the Catacombs. Act 3, the Imperial Gardens. The labyrinth itself is area level 33 and will allow you to unlock your Ascendancy class along with 2 Ascendancy passive points once you completed it for the first time. The Cruel Labyrinth. To unlock access to this one, you will need to complete 3 labyrinth trials located in the following locations. Act 6, the Prison. Act 7, the Crypt. Act 7, the Chamber of Sins, level 2. The Cruel Labyrinth is area level 55 and will provide 2 more Ascendancy passive points once completed. The Merciless Labyrinth. To unlock access to this one, you will need to complete 3 labyrinth trials located in the following locations. Act 8, the Bathhouse. Act 9, the Tunnel. Act 10, the Ossuary. The Merciless Labyrinth is area level 68 and will provide 2 more Ascendancy passive points once completed. The Eternal Labyrinth. This one doesn't require completion of any labyrinth trials that are located in maps. You just need to acquire 1 offering to the Goddess per entry. The Eternal Labyrinth is area level 75 and will provide final 2 Ascendancy passive points once completed. One offering will be awarded from any Labyrinth trial that can spawn in tier 6 or higher maps. You can allocate 3 small Atlas passives, Labyrinth Trial Chance, and Atlas Notable, Trial of Glory, for additional 10% chance to spawn one. You can also get offerings to the goddess randomly from rituals or lockpicking heist contracts, even in lower level zones. Another way to get one is to turn in a set of divination cards called Boon of Justice, which can drop in Conservatory, Orchard, and Plaza maps if they're at least tier 6 or higher. Challenge number 19 is Divine Destiny. Complete each of the following divination card tasks. Open stacked decks 30 times. Complete a tier 16 or higher map with Divination Scarab applied. Turn in a set of divination cards that award an Exalted or Divine Orb. Turn in a set of divination cards that have a stack size of at least 10. Difficulty tier of this challenge is red maps. Open stacked decks. You can obtain these most easily by doing heist contracts or blueprints, Legion, Blight, and Expedition. Putrid Cloister unique map is also a way to get some of them, but not very common. Complete a tier 16 or higher map with a Divination Scarab applied. This one is self-explanatory. Put in tier 16 map along with any Divination Scarab and defeat its boss. Turn in a set of divination cards that award an Exalted or Divine Orb. Turn in a set of divination cards that have a stack size of at least 10. These two tasks can be completed at the same time by turning one of the following divination card sets. The Hoarder, 12 card set awarding 1 Exalted Orb. It can currently drop from Mineral Pools, Underground Sea, and Vault map, as well as Maelstrom of Chaos and Vaults of Atziri unique maps. The Saint's Treasure, 10 card set awarding 2 Exalted Orbs. It can currently drop from Arcade and Port maps. The Fortunate, 12 card set awarding 1 Divine Orb. It can currently drop from Arid Lake, Atoll, Boreal Chambers, Canyon, Desert Spring, Dry Sea, Dunes, Estuary, Fields, Jungle Valley, Mineral Pools, Orchard, Plateau, Shore, Sulfur Vents, Terrace, and Tropical Island maps. Due to having so many possible drop locations, this is recommended card to target farm to complete this challenge. There are 2 more divination card sets that can be turned in, but they're both specific drops, and as such they're many times harder to farm a full set. Those sets are Divine Beauty and the Sephiroth. Divine Beauty can drop from any Merveil variant found in maps. Sephiroth can drop as early as Act 3 from Dominus, as well as his map variants. Challenge number 20 is Peddler's Produce 2. Complete vendor recipes to receive each of the following items. A vendor recipe is when you trade a specific combination of items to a vendor, not when you buy items from their purchase screen. Unique item, Orb of Fusing, Exalted Shard, Influenced item. Difficulty tier of this challenge is red maps. Unique item. This one can be completed in many different ways. First simple recipe is the Wretch Unique Belt requiring Feastbind Unique Belt and Faminebind Unique Belt, and 1 Orb of Fusing. Both components required can be easily acquired from divination card set The Standoff. Free card set that can drop throughout the campaign as well as multiple map areas. Possible outcomes from turning in this divination card set include both Feastbind, Faminebind, and just one other unique belt, Prismweave. Second simplest recipe is Hiri's Bite Unique Quiver that requires 1 white Sharktooth Arrow Quiver, 1 rare Onyx Amulet, 1 Rain of Arrows Skill Gem with at least 1% quality, and 1 Orb of Chance. All required components for this recipe can be acquired before end of Act 3. While the previous 2 recipes are by far the simplest, I recommend this following method instead. You can also complete this task when making Vinctar Square unique map that is required for 21st challenge, Remarkable Realms. Vinctar Square is unique map that has to be acquired from special vendor recipe. You will need 4 different Agneroth unique stuffs, Agneroth North, Agneroth East, Agneroth West, and Agneroth South. Trading in all 4 of these unique stuffs together will provide you with this unique map, tier of which will be based on the lowest item level of stuffs used. Agneroth stuffs can drop anywhere, but there is 2 ways to target farm them as you might be unlucky and keep finding the same variants. Divination card set The Stormcaller, 4 card set providing random Agneroth stuff, which drops from Courtyard, Strand, and Tower maps. There is also Divination card set The Tower, 6 card set which provides 1 of 22 unique stuffs, 4 of which are Agneroths. It drops from Residence and Tower maps, as well as some campaign areas. I recommend farming Tower map as it drops both of these cards. Orb of Fusing. Sell 6 linked item. You can drop them randomly or target farm divination card sets that grant 6 linked items. two sets that are relatively easy to farm with good drop rate are the Porcupine, 6-card set that will grant 6 Link Shortbow. It can drop in Courtyard, Gardens, Orchard, Plaza, and Terrace maps. It can also drop in High Gardens from Act 8 and any other zone with Porcupine Goliath mobs present. The Chains That Bind, 11-card set that will grant 6 Link Body Armor. It can drop in Cage, Cells, and Dungeon maps, as well as some campaign zones. Exalted Shard. This one is a bit tricky. You will need to sell a full set of rare items of the same influence type. Full set consists of helmet, body armor, gloves, boots, 2 rings, belt, amulet, and one of the following: 200 weapon or 2 100 weapons. Bows count as 200 and don't require influenced quiver. Shields can be used with any 100 weapon. While weapons and armor are usually relatively easy to come by, do keep an eye out for any influenced rings, belts, and amulets. I recommend gathering a set of Elder or Shaper influenced items. They can be easily farmed with Shaper and Elder Guardian maps, as well as influencing Scarabs of the Shaper and influencing Scarabs of the Elder. Influenced item. There are many vendor recipes which will work towards this task. Influenced weapons are very easy to come by, and as such I'll focus on vendor recipes requiring them along with other very basic supplies that can be acquired from most vendors. Sell any uncorrupted Shaper, Elder or Elder Slayer influenced weapon of normal rarity together with Granite, Ruby, Topaz or Sapphire Flask and 1 Orb of Augmentation. Another option is to sell any rarity uncorrupted influenced weapon along with Rustic Sash of any rarity and a Blacksmith Whetstone. Challenge number 21 is Alternate Atlases. Unlock all 3 Atlas passive trees. Difficulty tier for this challenge is red maps. You will unlock first Atlas passive tree by default once you reach maps. Second and third are unlocked after completing 50 and 100 Atlas bonus objectives respectively. Each map present on Atlas will provide 1 Atlas passive point for completing these objectives the first time. For white tier maps, you need to complete each map at magic or rare rarity. For yellow tier maps, you need to complete each map at rare rarity. For red tier maps, you need to complete each map at rare rarity while it's also corrupted. Unique maps that are present on the Atlas also have their own bonus objectives. These require a simple map completion. Not all unique maps will have bonus objectives. For example, Dorianis Machinarium and Vinctar Square unique maps are not present on the Atlas, and as such they don't have Atlas bonus objectives tied to them. Challenge number 23. Abnormal Adversaries. Defeat monsters affected by the following Necropolis modifiers the specified number of times while they are level 68 or higher. Servant Haunted, Peasant Haunted, Soldier Haunted, Gemling Haunted, Thaumaturgist Haunted, Noble Haunted, Magistrate Haunted, Devoted, all of which 50 times. Difficulty tier of this challenge is early maps or red maps. When using Lantern of Arimor, you can see tier of Haunted modifiers. Some monsters will increase or lower tier of applied Haunted modifier by 1. The names of Haunted modifiers correspond to tiers 1 to 7 that are visible as Roman numeral in bottom right corner of each mod. You will passively gain kills on monsters affected by tier 2 to 6 modifiers, as well as devoted monsters without any setup, but tier 1 and tier 7 are very hard to get without conscious effort. For tier 1 Servant Haunted modifier, you want to keep an eye out for any tier 2 Peasant Haunted modifiers that are present in a map with a monster pack that will lower modifier tier by 1. Many Haunted modifiers don't have tier 1 version and won't go lower than tier 2, so it might take some time to get. Lower tier Haunted modifiers appear more often while doing white tier maps. Remember not to use Atlas Notable Imperial Wraiths when trying to target Servant Haunted tier 1 modifiers. For Magistrate Haunted tier 7 modifiers, there is quite easy way to make them appear by using Atlas Notable Imperial Wraiths, which will increase tier of all Haunted modifiers in your maps by 1, and running red tier maps. Keep an eye out for opportunity to upgrade Noble Haunted tier 6 modifiers when they show up with tier increasing monster pack. Tier 7 Magistrate Haunted rare enemies will be required for one of later challenges, so keep this method in mind. Challenge number 23 is Remarkable Realms. Complete each of the following unique maps. Vaults of Atziri, Maelstrom of Chaos, The Coward's Trial, Acton's Nightmare, Purjoy's Asylum, Mao Kun, Oba's Cursed Trove, Olmec's Sanctum, Death and Taxes, Wakawairua Tuahu, The Vinctar Square, Kerr Blade, Wolfpack's Den, The Putrid Cloister, Hallowed Ground, The Twilight Temple, Pillars of Arun, Doriani's Machinarium. Difficulty tier of this challenge is red maps. You will randomly drop these maps while mapping, but if you're missing any, you can target farm towards getting them in several ways. Cartography's Scarab of Singularity will cause final map boss to drop one unique map. They are often available as one of maps offered by Kirak missions. You can use Atlas passives granting chance to receive Kirak missions on completion of maps. Best strategy here is to have at least one mission of white, yellow, and red tier, and using singular scouting report to guarantee at least one unique map in each mission tier. Using Otherworldly Incubators from Legion, which guarantee to drop unique map after killing prerequisite amount of monsters after applying it. Placing Rin Yushu Immortal Syndicate member in research safehouses, her reward chest will drop unique maps. Turning in the Encroaching Darkness Divination card set. An 8-card set that provides one corrupted unique map and drops from almost all tier 6 or higher maps. All of these methods can provide any unique map required for this challenge except for Vinctar Square and Doriani's Machinarium, which have to be acquired differently. These methods will target general unique map drops, but you might find yourself missing specific maps. Mao Kun has Divination card set Scholar of the Seas, 7-card set providing this map. The cards for it can drop in Reef, Strand, and Wakawairua Tuahu maps. Purjoy's Asylum has Divination card set The Dreamland, 8-card set providing this map. The cards for it can only drop from Cartographer's strongboxes. Twilight Temple has Divination card set The Twilight Moon, 6-card set providing this map. The cards for it can drop in Cold River, Moon Temple, and Temple maps. Putrid Cloister has Divination card set The Professor, 4-card set providing this map. The cards for it can drop in Academy and Museum maps. Vaults of Atziri has 2 different Divination card sets, The Treasure Hunter and The Wolf's Legacy. The Wolf's Legacy is a 4-card set providing uncorrupted Vaults of Atziri, and can be obtained from Eternal Labyrinth from Izaro's treasure chests, treasure troves, and Emperor's Vaults. Treasure Hunter is a 7-card set providing corrupted Vaults of Atziri, and can be obtained from Crystal Ore, Excavation, Flooded Mine, Fungal Hollow, Grotto, Lair, Underground River, Underground Sea, Kerr Blade, and Maze of the Minotaur maps. Vinctar Square is a unique map that has to be created from special vendor recipe. You will need 4 different Agnerod unique stuffs: Agnerod North, Agnerod East, Agnerod West, and Agnerod South. Trading all 4 of these unique stuffs together will provide you with this unique map, tier of which will be based on the lowest item level of stuffs used. Agnerod stuffs can drop anywhere, but there is 2 ways to target farm them, as you might be unlucky and keep finding the same variant. Divination card set The Stormcaller, 4-card set providing random Agnerod stuff which drops from Courtyard, Strand, and Tower maps. There is also Divination card set The Tower, 6-card set which provides one of 22 unique stuffs, 4 of which are Agnerods. It drops from Residence and Tower maps, as well as some campaign areas. I recommend farming Tower map, as it can drop both of these cards. Doriani's Machinarium can be completed in 2 ways. Only natural source is to drop it randomly from Delve boss Ahuatotli, the Blind, which appears inside Grand Architect's Temple Delve node. This node can spawn at depth 50+ inside Val Outpost biomes. Val Outpost biomes have highest chance of appearing at depth 200+. The only other way to achieve completion of this map requires special Atlas tree setup. You want to acquire comprehensive scouting reports. They don't drop naturally, so you need to allocate Atlas Notables, Planner Tactician, and Expert Reconnaissance, as well as 4 small Atlas passives Scouting Report drop chance, each providing 5% increased amount of scouting reports dropped in your maps. Optional Atlas Notable, Solidarity, will increase amount of scouting reports dropping, but will also make some of them drop as Operatives Scouting Report, so I don't recommend it for this strategy. Once you have comprehensive scouting reports, you will need to use them only if you have red tier Kirak mission available. Doriani's Machinarium can only spawn in that category, and only if comprehensive scouting report was used. You may also find beachheads in the mission pool. If you didn't finish challenge 14 Heralding Harbingers yet, you can use this method as additional source of beachhead maps if your Kirak mission count allows. Challenge number 24 is Sanctified Scarabs 1. Complete 200 red or purple tier maps with scarabs applied to them. Difficulty tier of this challenge is red maps. This one is self-explanatory. This challenge will only count each map as 1 point, regardless if you used 1 or 4 scarabs, so you will need to complete exactly 200 maps for it. This challenge can be completed alongside challenge 29, Sanctified Scarabs 2. Challenge number 25 is Vigorous Virtue. Complete any 6 of the following gem tasks. Use a Phazetor's Lens to add experience to a gem. Corrupt a gem to become either level 21 or 23% quality. Use the Lapidary Lens. Have a socketed skill gem reach level 26 or higher. Have at least 6 support effects applying to a single skill gem at once. Have a socketed skill gem reach 51% quality or higher. Transform a gem into a transfigured version. Level an awakened gem to level 5. Difficulty tier of this challenge is red maps. Note that you only have to complete 6 of 8 listed tasks, which allows you to skip 2 of them. I would recommend skipping the awakened gem leveling and 51% quality tasks depending on your circumstances. Use a Phazetor's Lens to add experience to a gem. Phazetor's Lens can be acquired by sacrificing a gem at Divine Font at the end of Merciless or higher Labyrinth if the option is available to store percentage of its experience as Phazetor's Lens. Alternatively, there is a Hori Crafting Station crafting option that will allow you to do the same with a corrupted gem to store 50% of the gem's total experience. This lens can be applied to any gem that's below its maximum level, which is 20 for standard gems, and 5 for awakened ones. Corrupt a gem to become either level 21 or 23% quality. Use Valorbs on level 20 and 20% quality gem for highest odds of either outcome happening. Using Valorbs on gems has 4 possible outcomes. For this task we need to either upgrade a gem level by 1, which will happen on average for 1 in 8 cases, or upgrade gem quality. Gem quality is a bit tricky to calculate, but maximum quality a gem can have after corruption is 23. Val orbs are able to cause a change between -10 to +10% quality. Any outcomes that roll increase of a gem quality by 3 or more % if used on a 20% quality gem will round down to 23. This will cause average of 8 in 84 corrupted 20% quality gems to turn into 23% quality gem. Adding all of these odds together, we end up with 37 in 168 chance, or about 22.02%, to complete this task when corrupting a level 20 and 20 quality gem. This task is also possible to get with Lapidary Lens from the next task. Use the Lapidary Lens. Lapidary Lens is a special device present in Alva Temple inside Tier 3 Doriani's Institute Room that belongs to Zalatl, Architect of Thaumaturgy. It will corrupt a gem twice with same outcomes as a Valorb would. Due to rolling 2 different corruption outcomes at once, it can be used to more reliably get either level 21 or 23% quality gem for previous task. Have a socketed skill gem reach level 26 or higher. This can be achieved in a few ways, but easiest would be to use Pragmatism Unique Body Armor with level 16 plus skill gem. If that is unavailable, other option will require level 21 gem with one of the following. Void Eye Unique Ring, Bronze Life Unique Body Armor, only for movement skill gems. Val Caress Unique Gloves, only for Val skill gems. Vivin Sect Unique Ring, only for Aura gems. This can only drop from level 78 plus Research Safehouse interrogations of Safehouse leaders. March of Legion Unique Boots, with perfectly rolled gem modifier, only for Aura gems. There is one considerably rarer option, Crest of Desire Unique Helmet from Heist Blueprints, which will work with level 18 to 21 gems depending on its modifier value. If you can get this, you can complete 51% quality task with it as well. Have at least 6 support effects applying to a single gem at once. Easiest way to get this is to find Bitter Dream Unique Scepter, or heist-specific replica Bitter Dream unique scepter and socket a compatible skill gem. Glacier Hammer works for both of these scepters. Bringer of Rain unique helmet will also work with setup of gems that can be bought at minimum cost from gem vendor. Heavy Strike along with any free supports that match socket colors. For red sockets I recommend Chance to Bleed, Ruthless, and Ancestral Call supports. For green sockets you can use Chance to Poison, Momentum, and added cold damage support. Have a socketed skill gem reach 51% quality or higher. Unless you get your hands on Crest of Desire unique helmet or well-rolled Ashes of the Stars, you will need skill gem with at least 21% quality. Available options to reach 51% quality include Replica Voida unique ring, acquired from Heist blueprints as one of possible rewards. Diala's Malefaction unique body armor, very rare. By far, the easiest method for this one is acquiring Replica Voidai, which is quite common replica unique and can be reasonably target farmed by doing Heist blueprints. Transform a gem into a transfigured version. When using Divine Font at the end of any labyrinth, there are few possible options which will allow you to transfigure gems. This task does not require the resulting transfigured gem to be of the same base type as the one used. Level an Awakened Gem to level 5. Easiest way to acquire Awakened Gems is from tier 14 or higher map bosses witnessed by Maven, from any Maven Crucible fight, or Maven boss fight itself. After acquiring one, you can facilitate the leveling process with Facetor's Lens, Divine Font, and Tora's Research Safe House crafting bench. If you can get it, Einhar's Memory of Harvest Beasts may contain Wild Brambleback Red Beast, which can be used for special beast crafting recipe that will increase level of an Awakened Gem by 1. Don't use this recipe on level 4 gem, because it may not count as you leveling the gem. Challenge number 26 is Cross Contamination. Complete any 4 of the following past League content encounters. Defeat a unique map boss that is possessed while in a ritual. Capture a beast holding an essence. Defeat a tier 4 harvest monster while delirious. Defeat a rogue exile that is possessed at least 3 times. Defeat a blight boss while in a breach. Defeat a Stygian Spire while affected by a shrine. Difficulty tier of this challenge is early maps. Notice that you only have to complete 4 out of 6 listed tasks. Defeat a unique map boss that is possessed while in a ritual. This one can be a bit RNG reliant. The boss has to be possessed after it's spawned in the ritual encounter. You can force Tormented Spirits along with rituals in maps with Torment Scarabs, Blood-Filled Vessels, or Atlas Passive Tree. Some strategies can be used to make this task a bit easier. For all of them, use Atlas Notable, Occult Devotion. Shore map final boss has a mechanic where it spawns special Tormented Spirit when brought down to 50% and another one at 25% health. This is by far the easiest way to do this challenge, if you can control your damage and only requires ritual to spawn at the boss arena. You may find a special Haunted Ritual, which will spawn its own Tormented Spirits during the ritual encounter. If you manage to capture a boss for ritual encounter in that map, then this task is as good as done. Atlas Notable Unrelenting Torment has 10% chance to add Tormented Spirits directly to boss arena. If you happen to get ritual there, make sure to defeat those spirits before they can possess the boss, so they can later possess it during the actual ritual encounter. Capture a beast holding an essence. Force Einhar to spawn in maps with Atlas Passive Tree or Bestiary Scarabs, as well as allocating Atlas Passive Notable Prolific Essence, and using Essence Scarabs along with Essence Mapcraft when possible. I recommend using 6 small Atlas Passives Bestiary Red Beast Chance, along with 2 small Atlas Passives Bestiary Yellow Beast Amount, to increase how many Einhar beasts are present for better odds of one of them being locked in an essence. This might require a few maps, but should be quite simple to complete. Defeat a tier 4 harvest monster while delirious. For this one, use the same method used in Challenge 16 Hungering Harvests. If you have Harvest Scarab of Cornucopia and force Harvest to be present in your map, you can guarantee completion of this task with any Delirious map on your first try. Otherwise, you have to do this task by running Delirious maps or in normal maps with Delirium Mirror present. Delirium Mirrors can be forced to appear in maps with Delirium Scarabs, Mapcraft, and Atlas Passive Tree. Delirium Mirrors are technically timed, but if you enter a sacred grove during the encounter, it will pause the timer and the fog won't progress. Delirious maps have no such timer and can be taken at your own pace. They can be created by using delirium orbs on any non-unique, uncorrupted map. Defeat a rogue exile that is possessed at least 3 times. If you have Nikos Memory of Tormented Souls available and happen to find an uncorrupted strongbox while doing it, you can roll the strongbox until it has guarded by a rogue exile modifier and complete this task easily. Without access to that specific memory, I recommend stacking Atlas Notables, Exiled Will, Royal Guard, and Unrelenting Torment. All of these together will make it possible to have rogue exile bodyguards that will have tormented spirits available nearby in an enclosed boss arena. This is very RNG based, but you can also add Ritual Atlas passives to possibly take advantage of Haunted Ritual Altar that will spawn its own tormented spirits. Necropolis League has special devoted modifier that can apply to monster packs where they spawn a tormented spirit on death. If you have access to All Flame of Anarchy, which will replace some monster packs with rogue exiles, you can easily set up a triple possessed rogue exile with some kiting. Defeat a blight boss while in breach. You can only have 1 blight encounter per map, so for this one we want to stack as many breaches as possible. You can acquire maps with contains blight encounter enchantment, which will allow you to stack more breach forcing mechanics. My recommendation is to use multiple breach scarabs, along with Atlas Notables Heavy Breach and Distilled Fungus. If you happen to get breach close to blight encounter, you should start blight encounter first and focus on empowered tier 3 physical and empowered tier 3 frost towers to stun and slow the boss in place. Once you're sure you can kill it or cool it, open a breach and while inside, finish off the blight boss. Defeat a Stygian Spire while affected by a shrine. Using Abyss Scarab of Edifice along with Abyss and Domination Scarabs should guarantee completion of this task if you leave a shrine available until Stygian Spire shows up. Without that scarab, the easiest way to increase odds of Stygian Spire's spawning is to stack Atlas Notable Trail of Destruction along with 2 small Stygian Spire chance Atlas passives and 2 small Abyssal Depths chance and Stygian Spire chance Atlas passives. This is exact same setup as mentioned in Challenge 10 Abyssal Assailants. I recommend also taking all small Domination Shrine Duration Atlas passives along with Atlas Notable Supplication. Challenge number 27 is Generous Gravesites. Craft equipment in the Necropolis while using any 10 of the following crafting modifiers resulting in an item level 81 or higher item. Can roll Haunted modifiers. Chance for corpses not to be consumed. Chance to create split or mirrored copy. Chance to fracture an explicit modifier. Exclusive base item types. Has influence. Increased chance for prefix or suffix modifier. Increased chance of modifiers. Increased effect of corpses. Item is corrupted. Modifier tier rating. Modifiers are scarcer. Reforge socket numbers or links. Reroll implicit or explicit modifier values. Difficulty tier of this challenge is red tier maps. This challenge will require corpses of average level 81 or higher, which can be obtained reliably from tier 14 or higher maps. You can complete this challenge by crafting a single item with 10 different corpses if they all match the criteria. Challenge number 28 is Masterful Monsters. Defeat 50 of any Delve boss, Syndicate Mastermind, Bestiary boss, or Val Omnitect. Difficulty tier of this challenge is yellow maps. There are 3 different Delve bosses that can be found in Azurite Mine. Ahuatotli, the Blind, which can spawn in Val City biomes on depths 50 and below. Kurgal, the Black-Blooded, which can spawn in Abyssal City biomes on depths below 90. Aul, the Crystal King, which can spawn in Primeval Ruin biomes on depths below 150. Each of them has distinct icon on Delve map. Farming for Delve bosses doesn't really synergize too well with farming other possible bosses for this challenge due to having a large time investment outside of maps. Syndicate Mastermind is a special fight that is unlocked by gathering 100 points of Mastermind Intelligence from finishing interrogations of safehouse leaders after completing a safehouse encounter with more intelligence being granted for higher rank interrogations. Syndicate Mastermind can be farmed towards semi-passively by allocating Atlas Notable Intelligence Gathering, but I recommend also allocating Atlas Notables Test of Loyalty and Effective Leadership to easily improve ranks of Syndicate Safehouse leaders as well as their members. Make sure to allocate some June Chance Atlas 3 passives or use Betrayal Scarabs. How to interact with Syndicate board will require a separate video, but here are few basic interactions. You can always interrogate a member to gain Safehouse intelligence based on his rank and leadership status, or release to skip other two choices and keep the current state of Syndicate unchanged. Third option will be Execute, Betray, or Bargain, based on how many members are currently present and their relations to each other. Execute will improve rank of that specific Syndicate member and is always present if 3 or more of them are currently present. Once you have 2 members left to decide what to do with them, it differs depending on the relationship to each other. Rivalry and no relation will usually allow execution. Betray option can cause multitude of effects including stealing ranks, removing other Syndicate members, taking over Safehouse leadership position. This option will appear in case of 2 members having friendship or leader-member relationship. Only member will offer to betray, while Safehouse leader will have execute available. Bargain will be present for every last member in an encounter. This can offer items, Safehouse intelligence, recruiting a member to their division, destruction of division equipment, or removal of that Syndicate member. Keep in mind that interrogating or removing Syndicate Safehouse leader from the Syndicate will remove them from that position and replace them with one of highest ranked members of their division. Make sure to make highly ranked Syndicate Safehouse leaders to guarantee highest Mastermind intelligence generation after beating the Safehouse itself. You can do this alongside Einhar's Bestiary bosses and Alva's Val Omnitect generation, as many masters can appear in the same map at once. Bestiary bosses are boss fights that require special red beasts to open portals for them at Menagerie. After beating these bosses, you will capture them. Fighting them again in their captured form won't count towards this challenge. There are 4 bestiary bosses. Sakawal, First of the Sky, requires Sakawin Rex, which appears in tier 5 or higher maps. Portal Opening Beast belongs to the Suns category, and Atlas Notable, the Hunt for Sakawal, will make it more common. Kraken, First of the Deep, requires Kraikik Spider Crab, which appears in tier 7 or higher maps. This Portal Opening Beast belongs to the Deep category, and Atlas Notable, the Hunt for Kraken, will make it more common. Phenumal, First of the Night, requires Phenumal Hybrid Arachnid, which appears in tier 10 or higher maps. This Portal Opening Beast belongs to the Caverns category, and Atlas Notable, the Hunt for Phenumus, will make it more common. Farul, First of the Plains, requires Pharik Tiger Alpha, which appears in tier 13 or higher maps. This Portal Opening Beast belongs to the Wilds category, and Atlas Notable, the Hunt for Farul, will make it more common. Due to considerable RNG with which beasts you can get, I recommend having General Einhar Spawn Chance Atlas passives as well as Atlas Notables Natural Selection, Big Game, and 2-Hearted Hunt allocated. Use Bestiary Scarab of the Herd and Bestiary Scarab of Duplication when available. You can do this alongside Yoon's Syndicate Mastermind and Alva's Val Omnitect generation, as many masters can appear in the same map at once. Val Omnitect is a boss present in every finished Alva temple and is located inside Apex of Azzoatl room. You will need to make sure you can access it when building your temples by unlocking passageways with Stones of Passage during incursion encounters, ultimately connecting it to the entrance. If your layout looks bad, you should try building and upgrading Explosives room belonging to Hyoxi Architect of Destruction, which will provide you with 1 to 3 explosive charges that will unlock single blocked passageway each. Alva temples can be built every 3 to 4 maps, which makes it the best way to progress this challenge. Make sure to use Incursion Scarabs or stack chance to spawn Alva on your Atlas passive tree. Atlas Notable Artifacts of the Val will allow you to complete required 12 incursion encounters in 3 maps instead of 4. When farming them, I recommend using Atlas Notables, Resource Reallocation, and Contested Development to increase average room tiers in your finished temples. On weaker builds, Atlas Notable Time Dilation will allow you to unlock more passageways by giving you more time to drop Stones of Passage from incursion monsters. This is the quickest and least RNG-reliant way to generate steady progress for this challenge. Challenge number 29 is Sanctified Scarabs 2. Complete maps with any 11 of the following scarab types, while there are at least 3 different scarabs of the same type applied to the map, while it has at least 80% item quantity and is at least tier 16. Bestiary, Influencing, Harbinger, Abyss, Essence, Domination, Incursion, Betrayal, Blight, Breach, Legion, Cartography, Beyond, Ambush, Ultimatum, Expedition, Delirium, Miscellaneous. Difficulty tier of this challenge is red maps. Note that you only have to complete 11 out of 18 listed tasks. This challenge doesn't require any scarabs from Reliquary, Anarchy, Sulfite, Ritual, Divination, Harvest, and Horned series. You can recycle any unneeded scarabs in 3-to-1 vendor recipe. Scarabs used for this recipe do not have to be of the same type or rarity. Make sure to use Cartographer's Chisels on your maps for additional 20% increased quantity, and Quantity Map Crafting option for 1 to 8 increased quantity based on your Atlas bonus objectives progress. Another 15% can be added on top of that by using small Atlas passives Item Quantity and Rarity. With all of these together, it leaves just 37 to 44% quantity that has to come from map explicit modifiers. Challenge number 30 is Map Magnificence. Reach total of 10,000 map tiers completing maps. Difficulty tier of this challenge is Early Maps/Red Maps. This one is very grindy and will require equivalent of 625 tier 16 maps to complete. Each map will count its tier as the same amount of progress towards this challenge after defeating its boss. This is most likely one of last challenges you will complete. I recommend using favored slots on tier 16 Atoll map due to predictable layout, but anything will work. This challenge can be even completed with 10,000 tier 1 maps if you're willing. Challenge number 31 is Formidable Flashbacks. Reach a total of 150 explicit map modifiers from completing Atlas memory maps. Difficulty tier rating of this challenge is red maps. Memories can drop from tier 14 or higher maps. There is no way to target farm them specifically. Each memory can be applied to your Atlas to create a chain of 3 to 6 maps, which you will be able to open by using its corresponding master. You can modify maps provided by these memories with currencies, fossils, and delirium orbs. You will need average of 25 memory maps if you roll every map to have 6 explicit modifiers. Challenge number 32 is Enigmatic Embers. Complete tier 14 or higher rare maps with 100 All-Flame Embers of monster level 81 or higher applied. Replacing multiple packs per map contributes more progress. Difficulty tier of this challenge is red maps. All-Flame Embers of monster level 81 or higher will drop while doing tier 14 or higher maps. You can allocate 4 small Atlas passives, Embers of All-Flame drop chance. Simply use any dropped embers whenever you get them, unless you want to save them for specific purpose. Each ember used will provide 1 point of progress. Challenge number 33 is Aggravated Antagonists. Defeat any 8 of the following bosses while they are level 83 or higher. Any Beyond boss, any Delve boss, Val Omnitect, the Syndicate Mastermind, Oshabi, the Trial Master, Lycia, any Expedition boss, any Abyssal Lich, any Breachlord in their domain, the Twins, any Delirium boss. Difficulty tier of this challenge is red maps. Note that you only have to complete 8 out of 12 listed tasks. Any Beyond boss. Simply enable Beyond in your tier 16 maps with Atlas Passive Tree or Beyond Scarabs. I recommend allocating Atlas Notable Torn Veil as well as using Beyond Scarab of Hemophilia and Beyond Scarab of Resurgence, if possible. After killing enough Beyond demons, you will have stacking chance to spawn the boss. Only one Beyond boss can spawn per instance and will disable Beyond portals for the rest of the map. Additional spawn options include Azurite Mine Beyond node at depth 145 and below, or Nikos Memory of Chasms, which is guaranteed to spawn a Beyond boss on its 4th map. Any Delve Boss. Find any Delve Boss mentioned in Challenge 28 Masterful Monsters at depth 105 or deeper. Val Omnitect. Create Alva Temple with at least 4 incursion encounters being done in tier 16 or higher maps, and make sure there is path to the Omnitect itself. The Syndicate Mastermind. Gather Mastermind Intelligence from level 83 or higher Syndicate Safehouse completions. To ensure level 83 safehouses, complete at least one Betrayal encounter used to unlock it in tier 16 or higher maps. Oshabi. Oshabi boss fight is required for challenge 16, Hungering Harvests. It's always at level 83. The Trial Master. This boss fight can be opened randomly when reaching final round for ultimatum encounters in tier 14 or higher maps. You will need to spawn it in tier 16 or higher map. This boss fight will retain all negative modifiers applied by ultimatum encounter leading to it, and will fail if you die, disconnect, or leave. I recommend allocating Atlas Notable, Brave the Tower. If you have it, using Ultimatum Scarab of Dueling in tier 16 map will guarantee an opportunity to fight this boss if you reach final round. Lycia. Final boss of Sanctum, which can be accessed with Forbidden Tomes. To ensure level 83 encounter, you have to use level 80 plus Forbidden Tome. To drop these tomes, you have to complete Act 10 side quest for Sister Divinia, and they can drop anywhere. There is no way to target farm them except killing a lot of monsters. Any Expedition boss. This boss fight can be guaranteed to spawn by using level 83 Expedition logbook with area contains Medved, or Vorana, or Ufred, or Olroth. There are a total of 4 different expedition bosses which correspond to their respective factions. To acquire these logbooks, make sure to prioritize large monster markers as well as any remnants with effects that will increase amount of logbooks dropping from runic monsters. I recommend allocating Atlas Notable, Runic Knowledge, and Ancient Writings, as well as using Expedition Scarab of Rune Finding when possible. Sometimes Dunning might offer expedition logbooks for purchase when refreshing his inventory. Once you open Expedition logbook with an expedition boss present, make sure to plant explosive at the skull that will mark where expedition boss is located. Any Abyssal Lich. Abyssal Liches are 2 special boss fights available in the Abyssal Depths. You will need to spawn entrance to Abyssal Depths by doing Abysses in tier 16 plus maps. To increase odds of them appearing, I recommend allocating Atlas Notables Awakened Depths and Trail of Destruction, as well as small Atlas passives, Abyssal Depths Chance, and Abyssal Depths Chance and Stygian Spire Chance. Any Breachlord in their domain. Breachlord fights can be accessed by using Breach Stones to open their respective domains. Breach Stones are created out of 100 Breach Splinters of the respective type. To ensure level 83 boss fight, you will need Chayula Breach Stone or any Flawless Breach Stone. Flawless Breach Stones can be acquired by using blessings dropped from the respective Breach Lords to upgrade them from normal version. I recommend farming Chayula Breach Stone by allocating Atlas Notables Tortured Dreams and Within Their Grasp. If you have it, Breach Scarab of the Dreamer can be used alongside other Breach Scarabs for very easy Chayula Splinters. Breach Splinter drops are incredibly low if you don't fully invest into Breach on your Atlas passive tree. You can use Harvest Horti Crafting Station to exchange your splinters into random other type if you have the Harvest Juice to spare. The Twins. This boss fight is accessed by using unique heist contract, The Twins. To be able to drop it, you need to open Smuggler's Caches in tier 14 maps after completing a series of specific quest heist contracts. Prerequisite contracts will require completion of previous one before they can drop. These are Contract Harry's Gift, drops from Smuggler's Cache and tier 1 or higher maps. Contract The Negotiation, drops from Smuggler's Cache and tier 8 or higher maps. Contract The Rescue, drops from Smuggler's Cache and tier 8 or higher maps. After completing these 3 quest contracts, you will be eligible to drop the Twins unique contract. It will always open their boss fight at level 83. Any Delirium boss. Delirium bosses can spawn randomly when under effect of Delirium. Easiest way to spawn them is to open Delirious map with chance to spawn Delirium boss being about equal to how Delirious the map is. You can guarantee a Delirium boss to spawn if you allocate Atlas Notable, Delusions of Persecution along with small Atlas passives leading up to it. This will provide you with 156% more chance to spawn Delirium boss. It will make 40% Delirious map have 100% chance to contain one. You can apply plus 20% Delirium with each Delirium orb used on a map. Make sure to use tier 16 map for this task. Challenge number 34 is Elevated Expanses. Complete each of the following tasks in tier 17 maps. Defeat rare monsters with at least 4 modifiers 50 times, complete maps 30 times, reach a total increased item quantity from completed maps 5000, complete maps with at least 50% pack size 15 times. Difficulty tier of this challenge is tier 17/Uber. Tier 17 maps can be obtained once you have at least one Voidstone. Each Voidstone will provide a small chance to convert any tier 16 map dropped into tier 17. These maps have special set of difficult modifiers, with at least one prefix and suffix guaranteed to be from that pool of mods, as well as featuring special boss fights. You can't drop tier 17 maps inside tier 17 maps, and they can only be modified with Chaos Orbs. Defeat rare monster with at least 4 modifiers. Modifiers here refers to white modifiers present under monster name. Essences, Tormented Spirits, and Wildwood Wisps will not count. Tier 17 maps can roll special explicit modifier that makes rare monsters have 1 to 3 additional modifiers. Ultimatum encounters can have a modifier which will make rare monsters within it have 2 additional modifiers. If you have it, you can use Horned Scarab of Nemesis along with Scarab of Adversaries to progress this task quicker. Complete maps. Self-explanatory. Defeat a boss at the end of tier 17 map 30 times. Reach a total increased item quantity from completed maps. You can improve amount of progress gained for this challenge by allocating all small Atlas passives, item quantity and rarity for a total of 15% increased item quantity per map. You can also use the free map crafting option for extra 1 to 8% increased item quantity. Using Sacrifice or Alluring Fragments in your map device will increase item quantity by another 5 or 10% per fragment respectively. Complete maps with at least 50% pack size. You can roll maps to have 50% pack size directly or use strategy that will stack increased effect of explicit map modifiers with Atlas passive tree. This should allow reliable use of any map with 27% pack size for this challenge. Challenge number 35 is Otherworldly Obstacles. Complete each of the following invitations while they have at least 70% item quantity. Screaming, Incandescent, the Elder Slayers, the Feared, the Forgotten, Deformed, the Hidden, the Twisted. Difficulty tier of this challenge is Pinnacle. All of these have to be rolled to 70% item quantity naturally by using Alchemy Orb / Scouring Orb combo or Chaos Orbs. You can risk using Valorb if you don't mind rolling possibly build-breaking mods. You can acquire these invitations in the following ways. Screaming. Open tier 14 or higher maps with Eater of Worlds influence and complete 28 of them. Allocating Atlas Notable etched by Acid will grant you 10% chance for any completed map to count as 2 towards this, which will cut down amount of maps required by about 2 or 3 on average. Incandescent. Open tier 14 or higher maps with Searing Exarch influence and complete 28 of them. Allocating Atlas Notable Baptized by Fire will grant 10% chance for any completed map to count as 2 towards this, which will cut down amount of maps required by about 2 or 3 on average. Maven Invitation will be granted automatically after capturing all 4 Elder Slayers. To capture them, run each of their specific maps with Maven Influence, and Kirak will provide this invitation once all of them are witnessed. Elder Slayer maps have 2% chance to drop from any tier 14 or higher map boss, and this chance can be increased by allocating Atlas Notable Conquered Conquerors. Atlas Keystone Destructive Play can be used as well, but will require more map micromanagement. The Feared. Maven Invite will be granted automatically after capturing all Chayula, Uberatsiri, Venarius, Shaper, and Elder. To capture them, complete their specific encounters with Maven Influence, and Kirak will provide this invitation. Chayula can be captured from Chayula's Bridgestone or Flawless Chayula's Bridgestone. Allocating Atlas Notables, Tortured Dreams, and Within Their Grasp, as well as using Bridge Scarabs of the Dreamer, when possible, should help target farming this stone. Uber Atziri has to be captured from Alluring Abyss, opened with full set of Alluring Fragments. Those can be acquired from Atziri boss fight from Sacrifice Fragment set or Alva's Temple. Venarius can be captured from completing Cortex or Replica Cortex. Replica Cortex is Grand Heist reward, and Normal Cortex can be acquired as a random drop while doing other Synthesis maps or from special divination cards that drop from the Elder Slayers. Shaper and Elder can be captured at the same time from Uber Elder boss fight or separately from their default fights accessed with full set of Shaper Fragments and Elder Fragments respectively. Shaper Fragments drop from Shaper Guardians and Elder Fragments from Elder Guardians. The Forgotten. Maven Invite will be granted automatically after capturing all 4 Synthesis bosses. To capture them, run their specific maps with Maven Influence and Kirak will provide this invitation. Synthesis maps have 2% chance to drop from any tier 14 or higher map boss, and this chance can be increased by allocating Atlas Notable Vivid Memories. Atlas Keystone Destructive Play can be used as well, but will require more map micromanagement. The Formed. Maven Invitation will be granted automatically after capturing all 4 Shaper Guardians. To capture them, run their specific maps with Maven Influence and Kirak will provide this invitation. Shaper Guardian maps have 3% chance to drop from any tier 14 or higher map boss, and this chance can be increased by allocating Atlas Notable Remnants of the Past. Atlas Keystone Destructive Play can be used as well, but will require more map micromanagement. The Hidden. Maven's Invitation will be granted automatically after capturing all 4 non-Chayula Breach Lords. To capture them, run their specific Bridgestone with Maven Influence and Kirak will provide this invitation. Bridgestones are created out of 100 bridge splinters of the respective type. Allocating Atlas Notable within their grasp will allow you to drop full Bridgestone directly, and Atlas Notable's Gatekeepers and Power Struggle will increase amount of bridge bosses spawning. Bridge splinter drops are incredibly low if you don't fully invest in bridge on your Atlas passive tree. You can use Harvest Horticrafting Station to exchange your splinters into random other type if you have the Harvest juice to spare. The Twisted. Maven's Invitation will be granted automatically after capturing all 4 Elder Guardians. To capture them, run their specific maps with Maven Influence and Kirak will provide this invitation. Elder Guardian maps have 3% chance to drop from any tier 14 or higher map boss, and this chance can be increased by allocating Atlas Notable Remnants of the Past. Atlas Keystone Destructive Play can be used as well, but will require more map micromanagement. Challenge number 36 is Favored Figments. Unlock all favored map slots. Complete a tier 16 plus map. Defeat an Elder Guardian. Defeat a Shaper Guardian. Defeat a Conqueror of the Atlas. Defeat Cyrus, Awakener of Worlds. Defeat Venarius in the Cortex. Defeat the Shaper. Defeat the Elder in the Shaper's realm. Defeat the Maven. Defeat the Eater of Worlds. Defeat the Searing Exarch. Complete Maven's Invitation, the Feared. Most of these are already required for many previous challenges, but some will require additional explanation. The difficulty tier of this challenge is Pinnacle. Complete a tier 16 plus map. Defeat map boss of any tier 16 or 17 map. Defeat an Elder Guardian. Defeat any of the following: Eradicator, Constrictor, Purifier, and Enslaver. Elder Guardian maps can drop from any tier 14 or higher map bosses. Defeat a Shaper Guardian. Defeat any of the following: Phoenix, Hydra, Minotaur, and Chimera. Shaper Guardian maps can drop from any tier 14 or higher map boss. Defeat a Conqueror of the Atlas. Defeat any Elder Slayer. These include Al-Hezmin, Baran, Drox, and Veritania. Elder Slayer maps can drop from any tier 14 or higher map bosses. Defeat Cyrus, Awakener of Worlds. You will need a set of 4 unique fragments from all 4 Elder Slayers to access Cyrus boss fight. Defeat Venarius in the Cortex. You will need Cortex map or Replica Cortex map. Cortex can drop from synthesized maps or divination card sets that drop from the Elder Slayers. Defeat the Shaper. You will need set of 4 unique fragments from all 4 Shaper Guardians to access Shaper boss fight. Each Shaper Guardian drops their own fragment. Defeat the Elder in the Shaper's realm. This one requires defeating Uber Elder, not to be confused with Uber Elder. His boss fight can be accessed with 4 unique fragments from standard Shaper and Elder boss fights. Shaper can drop Fragment of Knowledge and Fragment of Shape. Elder can drop Fragment of Emptiness and Fragment of Terror. Fragments themselves can be exchanged for other fragment dropping from that same boss at Horty Crafting Station. Alternative way of obtaining these fragments is to acquire divination card sets the Eldritch Decay, which can drop from Elder Guardians and will reward with random Uber Elder fragment. Defeat the Maven. You will need the Maven's Writ, acquired from gathering 10 Crescent Splinters, which drop as rewards from various Maven Crucible fights at level 83. You will acquire a lot of them while doing Challenge 35, Otherworldly Obstacles. Defeat the Eater of Worlds. You can complete this while progressing the Eater of Worlds questline. Defeat the Searing Exarch. You can complete this while progressing the Searing Exarch questline. Complete Maven's Invitation, the Feared. Maven Invite will be granted automatically after capturing all Chayula, Uberatsiri, Venarius, Shaper, and Elder. To capture them, complete their specific encounters with Maven Influence, and Kirak will provide this invitation. Chayula can be captured from Chayula's Bridgestone or Flawless Chayula's Bridgestone. Atsiri has to be captured from Alluring Abyss opened with full set of Mortal Fragments. Venarius can be acquired from completing Cortex or Replica Cortex. Shaper and Elder can be captured at the same time from Uber Elder boss fight, or separately from their default fights accessed with full set of Shaper fragments and Elder fragments respectively. Challenge number 37 is Arimor's Apex. Defeat 100 rare monsters in tier 16 or higher maps with at least 80% item quantity while they are affected by Magistrate Haunted modifiers. Difficulty tier of this challenge is red maps. Magistrate Haunted refers to tier 7 Haunted modifier. There is quite easy way to make them appear by using Atlas Notable Imperial Wraiths, which will increase tier of all Haunted modifiers in your maps by 1 and upgrading Noble Haunted tier 6 when it shows up with tier increasing monster pack. There is currently an exploit of sorts that can be achieved more easily on Volcano map. If you manage to get tier 7 modifier on Rakango containing monster pack that can spawn there, you just need to find a rare Rakango. And if you control your damage output, you can force this enemy to keep spawning new tails without killing the main body. Each tail defeated this way counts towards this challenge at the time of this recording. Challenge number 38 is Unfamiliar Undertakings. Defeat any 3 of the following tier 17 map boss encounters in specified ways. Nightmare of Katarina without being affected by Lich's Beam. Nightmare of Lycia without being affected by Heretic's Ire. Nightmare of Ufred without being affected by Glimpse of Infinity. Nightmare of the Depraved Trinity without being affected by any effluent. Nightmare of the Unbreakable without being affected by Magnetic Storm. Difficulty tier of this challenge is tier 17/Uber. Note that you only have to complete 3 out of 5 listed tasks. This challenge will require you to beat newly introduced tier 17 map bosses while avoiding some of their specific attacks and mechanics. Nightmare of Katarina without being affected by Lich's Beam. This boss is present in tier 17 Ziggurat map. Lich's Beam refers to debuff that will cause physical damage over time. It is applied by the green laser that will be channeled between totems present around the edges of the arena throughout most of the fight. These lasers are static and will leave middle of the arena clear. Strategy to avoid it is to simply stay in the inner part of the arena until Katarina is defeated. Nightmare of Lycia without being affected by Heretic's Ire. This boss is present in tier 17 Sanctuary map. Heretic's Ire is a debuff that will cause chaos damage over time. It is applied by the spinning blade staff hazards she summons and one other attack that will recall them to stab your character's current location. Lycia will telegraph this second attack with Swift Death catchphrase. This debuff is applied instantly as soon as these blade staffs are created, so avoid touching them at all costs. Nightmare of Ufred without being affected by Glimpse of Infinity. This boss is present in tier 17 Citadel map. Glimpse of Infinity is a stacking debuff that will cause reduction in your action speed. It is applied by 3 separate skills: lasers shooting from the edge of the arena, black ground effect with white hands sticking out of it, and rotating beam attack that is telegraphed with no escape catchphrase. Nightmare of the Depraved Trinity without being affected by any effluent. This boss is present in Tier 17 Abomination map. Effluent refers to 3 separate stacking debuffs, red, green and purple. Red will increase damage taken, green will lower your damage output, purple will slow you down. Once Duedre is killed during the first phase of this boss fight, she will summon pulsing totems applying weaker versions of these debuffs, but none of those are part of the challenge. What you need to avoid is an attack that will be cast during second phase by Nightmare of the Depraved Trinity proper. Boss will throw red, green or purple orb on the ground, leaving a ground hazard after it explodes. This ground effect will apply stacking Effluent debuff after a short delay while standing in it. This should be easy to avoid if you keep moving and quickly leave the affected area before first stack is applied. Nightmare of the Unbreakable without being affected by Magnetic Storm. This boss is present in Tier 17 Fortress map. Magnetic Storm is a stacking debuff that will cause reduction in movement speed. It is applied by taking damage from multitude of lasers, charged up red explosion attack as well as electric orbs. Lasers will shoot every 3 seconds on average and their trajectory will be telegraphed with a thinner targeting beam 2 seconds before they fire. The boss will sometimes charge up a big red explosion, which will also apply few stacks of this debuff if you stand in it when it explodes. Last known attack that will apply this debuff is caused by a line of red balls which will go in opposite directions and chain red electricity between them. These balls and electricity will both apply the debuff. Strategy for this one is to simply avoid all of these attacks as they show up. Challenge number 39 is Colossal Conditionals. Defeat any 3 of the following pinnacle boss encounters while the area is level 85 in the specified ways. The Shaper without being affected by the Shaper's Beam, the Uber Elder while affected by Vortex Ground and Eldritch Decay, Cortex without being hit by Wormhole Slam, Cyrus while being affected by Desolation of the Awakener, the Searing Exarch without being affected by Cauterized Flesh, the Eater of Worlds without beginning to drown, the Maven after successfully completing the memory game at least 5 times. Difficulty tier of this challenge is Tier 17/Uber. Note that you only have to complete 3 out of 7 listed tasks. This challenge will require you to beat Uber versions of pinnacle bosses while fulfilling certain conditions. You can access these fights with new Uber fragments acquired from finishing Tier 17 maps. The Shaper without being affected by the Shaper's Beam. Uber Shaper can be accessed with 5 cosmic fragments acquired from Tier 17 maps. Shaper's Beam is a very distinct attack that will be preceded by Gaze into the Abyss catchphrase. Shaper as well as all of his clones can cast it. The laser itself is stationary and won't move once started, so it should be relatively easy to dodge. Don't stand too close to the Shaper when he's channeling it, since you can accidentally touch Beam's starting point. The Uber Elder while affected by Vortex Ground and Eldritch Decay. Uber Elder can be accessed with 5 decaying fragments acquired from Tier 17 maps. This task requires you to be under effect of 2 separate ground effects. Vortex is caused by volatile anomaly projectiles that will spawn every 40 seconds around edges of the arena and seek players if close enough. Once they touch a player, they will explode after a short delay and leave permanent Vortex ground effect that deals heavy cold damage over time when standing inside of it. Eldritch Decay is caused by small squid-like enemies called Madness Propagators, which also spawn every 40 seconds. If they are not killed quickly, they will drop permanent Eldritch Decay ground effect that deals heavy physical damage over time when standing inside of it. For this challenge, it's recommended to leave a patch of Eldritch Decay first, and then lure Volatile Anomaly towards it to overlap both effects. Afterwards, it's simply matter of defeating the boss while standing in the area affected by both of these ground hazards. Cooling support or similar effects might be crucial for less tanky builds. Cortex without being hit by Wormhole Slam. Uber Venarius can be accessed with 5 synthesizing fragments acquired from Tier 17 maps. Wormhole Slam refers to an attack performed during 2nd and 4th phases of the boss. After a catchphrase, Fill the Pool of the Void, boss will spawn unavoidable black orbs which home on player and will get faster with time. Once they touch you, your character will be teleported in front of the boss, and he will slam at that location. There is a short delay between being teleported and the slam itself, so it's recommended to use instant movement skills to escape right after teleportation occurs instead of avoiding the orbs themselves. Cirrus while being affected by Desolation of the Awakener. Uber Cirrus can be accessed with 5 Awakening Fragments acquired from Tier 17 maps. Desolation of the Awakener is a debuff caused by standing in red burning ground effect that covers most of the arena during the last phase of the fight. This debuff will cause fire, physical, chaos, and lighting damage, reduce your maximum fire, chaos, and lighting resistance, as well as turn off life and energy shield recovery while standing in affected area. Cooling support or similar effects might be crucial for less tanky builds. The Searing Exarch without being affected by Cauterized Flesh. Uber Searing Exarch can be accessed with 5 Blazing Fragments acquired from Tier 17 maps. Cauterized Flesh is a 10-second debuff applied when touching any Searing Runes ground effects that cover the arena during the fight. Effect of this debuff is -5 maximum fire resistance and 50% reduced cooldown recovery speed for your travel skills. To complete this task, avoid touching these runes at all cost. The Eater of Worlds without beginning to drown. Uber Eater of Worlds can be accessed with 5 Devouring Fragments acquired from Tier 17 maps. Drowning is a status effect caused by drowning balls, which will home towards the player if not directly looked at. This effect will massively decrease your action speed and kill you after 3 seconds. Eater of Worlds will spawn these floating orbs around the arena as his health decreases. To complete this task, avoid being touched by these orbs at all cost. The Maven after successfully completing Memory Game at least 5 times. Uber Maven can be accessed with 5 Reality Fragments acquired from Tier 17 maps. Memory Game refers to a specific phase of the fight in which Maven will float towards middle and separate the arena in 3 sections. Maven will flash these sections in random order 3 times the first time and 6 times each subsequent time this mechanic appears. This mechanic has internal cooldown of 60 seconds. To successfully complete this memory game, you have to emulate this pattern by stepping on these sections in order they lit up. Make sure to avoid purple ground hazard expanding from the middle of the arena, as well as rotating laser beams. A small tip for this task is to stand on the first lit up section and very close to the border of second lit up section, in order to complete first 2 steps as soon as possible. Make sure you have completed this phase correctly 5 times before finishing the fight. Challenge number 40 is Grueling Gauntlet Grinds. Complete any 4 of these encounters the specified number of times. Reach level 100. Defeat Argus in Endgame Labyrinth 100 times. Complete red tier maps with 8 modifiers 50 times. Complete Elder Guardian, Shaper Guardian, or Elder Slayer maps 100 times. Defeat Uber Pinnacle bosses 50 times. Collect corpses in tier 16 or higher maps 250 times. Difficulty tier of this challenge is red maps / tier 17 / Uber. Note that you only have to complete 4 out of 6 listed tasks. Reach level 100. Each death will remove 10% of accumulated experience from your bar. There are many leveling strategies that can be used for quicker leveling, and I recommend doing whatever you like doing the most. If you feel like death is unavoidable, focus on acquiring Omens of Amelioration from ritual encounters. These omens will make death penalty only 2.5% of your experience bar, but will work only once per map area. Defeat Argus in Endgame Labyrinth. Very simple but grindy. Easiest way to complete this task is to have a stockpile of offerings to the goddess at the ready for when and if Argus is present in the very first area of Eternal Labyrinth. In that situation, all you have to do is repeatedly enter and kill Argus, and then restart the run. You can check daily layouts for each labyrinth on poelab.com, which is linked in the description. Acquiring 100 offerings to the goddess can be difficult on a short notice, so it's best to prepare as soon as possible. They can be acquired from multitude of sources. From Labyrinth Trials that can spawn in yellow tier or higher maps, you can increase odds of them showing up by allocating Atlas Notable Trial of Glory along with small Atlas passives in the same node. This will cause some trials to reward you with improved Labyrinth offering, which is considerably harder but offers bigger rewards. Ritual altars can have them available as early as white maps. Heist contracts can drop them from generic and fragments reward types. These are present in Demolition, Engineering, Lockpicking and Perception contracts. Random saves present in most contract types also have minimal chance to drop them. These can drop from contracts of level equivalent to white maps or higher. Divination card set, Boon of Justice, 6 card set that can drop from Conservatory, Orchard and Plaza maps at tier 6 or higher. Also, they can randomly drop from treasure chests opened with treasure keys at the end of Eternal Labyrinth. From personal experience, you can get on average 1 for every 12 to 15 treasure chests opened. Complete red tier maps with 8 modifiers. One of random outcomes of corrupting a rare map will cause it to have 8 map modifiers. Using Val Orb on a rare map will cause this in about 1 in 4 maps. If you have it, Cartography Scarab of Corruption will cause all non-unique maps found to drop corrupted with 8 modifiers. Val Scouting Reports can also be used to fish some red tier 8 mod maps from Kirak more easily. Complete Elder Guardian, Shaper Guardian, or Elder Slayer maps. These maps can drop from any tier 14 or higher map bosses. You can farm these quite easily if you use Atlas Notables, Remnants of the Past, and Conquered Conquerors. You can also allocate Atlas Keystone Destructive Play, but it will require some micromanagement on maps being run. This method should provide you with plenty of maps required for this task. Defeat Uber Pinnacle bosses. Uber Pinnacle bosses are all accessed with special fragments acquired from tier 17 map bosses. Each boss has their own special type of fragment required to access it. I recommend skipping this if you can't reliably defeat most Uber bosses. Collect corpses in tier 16 or higher maps. This one is incredibly simple. Just do tier 16 maps and collect any corpse that drops. If your necropolis is full, make sure to use Coffin Button to store them directly in your inventory. You can drop them afterwards. If you want to target this task specifically, you can allocate Atlas Notable, Geminate Haunting, as well as small Atlas passives, Unresolved Anguish Chance. Placing higher tier Haunted modifiers on more common packs and bigger packs will improve your chances of dropping corpses as well. That was last of the challenges. This guide is by no means exhaustive, but I hope that at least some of its contents will be of use to you. All graphics and footage is sourced from community resources like PoeWiki and PoeDB, or has been captured by me from the game itself. Boss mechanics from tier 17 map bosses and Uber Pinnacle content are from videos by PhazePlays and Márkusz that are linked in the description below. In case of any inconsistencies or mistakes, let me know in the comments below. I hope to continue making this type of guides as well as more focused deep dives into specific mechanics in the future. Thank you for watching.